Hey, what's going on, everybody? And it is October 1st, right? It is October 1st. It is Wednesday, October 1st. Happy October, everybody. 'Tis the season. We are moving into those winter months. First, we get to enjoy fall, which, I'm super appreciative of the fall weather. However, I know that once the winter months hit, people start to get a little bit sluggish. The depression may set in, that seasonal depression. We become a little more isolated and secluded, and you better believe that the public officials, those elected representatives, they are aware of that as well. And during the winter months is when they do some of their most damage. So it is extremely important, especially coming into these winter months, that we maintain a level of participation within the local governing bodies that operate within the township. So that being said, I'm far from a talking head. I'm not a news anchor. I'm not a journalist. I'm none of these things. I'm just a guy who sees certain issues and problems and decides, can I do something about that? Can I be helpful in some form or fashion? And if there's something I think I can reasonably do, then I feel obligated to act. So, with that being said, I have been working on something over the last, couple weeks, I guess, week or two. So we will be going live from Westmoreland County again. Today's date, October 1st, 6:43 in the evening. I figured the topic at hand, as I said, participation. So there is a Board of Commissioners special meeting that is this upcoming Thursday, October 9th. 7 p.m., and that is at 11279 Center Highway, North Huntingdon, PA 15642. Most importantly, we are going to jump into our talking points. So this is what we're going to be discussing primarily in this video. As I stated, there is a meeting October 9th, 2025. I'm not sure that the chief will be there. I think that he should be at the following meeting, but nonetheless, we have questions that pertain to the chief. And I think the first one would be, where was Rizzo during his absence from the township meetings? We now have twice documented where the chief disappears for months at a time. The first instance was after the Itchy Rizzo video surfaced. That's where the chief could be seen in his orange sweater, scratching his face, falling asleep at certain points during the meeting. He then went MIA. We were told that he was at some sort of a training. However, nothing had ever been provided that would confirm that that's definitely where he was during that absence. The second absence came following the stolen vehicles out of the township. Some of the residents that were affected negatively by these stolen vehicles, mind you, some used in drive-by shootings, they showed up at a commissioners meeting to voice their concerns. At the time, no longer with us now, though, Commissioner of Ward 7, Eric Goss, told these citizens that they should come to the following meeting, that the chief would be there to answer questions. However, when the following meeting occurred, the chief was not there. We were told by Zach Haggis, acting president of the commission, that the chief was at an FBI training. It later became relevant, or, apparent to us, that this FBI training was a golf outing at Nemacolin Woodlands, which leads us into our second question, and that is the chief currently employed by Cody? Part-time, full-time, sometime, no time? Cody being the reporting system that we have had issues with, how the numbers are housed within the department, more specifically as they involve car accidents. This was something that Lieutenant Jay McCurdy was questioned by, again, Eric Goss, who seems to be the only commissioner, again, not a commissioner anymore. He's since resigned, and from what we know, moved out of the township. It was so bad, the resistance he received, but he's been the only one to take a stand. So again, Chief, are you currently employed by Cody? Jumping into our next topic, does the township stand by its decision to shield the police department leadership? I mean, really, we're going to be coming into a year here on November 11th. 2024 was when the first video was posted online, when the officers came to my driveway. We are approaching a year, and I'm just curious. Commissioner Zona, Commissioner Atwood, Hempel, Bevan, Gray, Haggis. Is this where you guys expected to be a year from November 11th? November 14th, we'll say for you guys, that was my first appearance at a township meeting where I was, escorted out for trying to exercise my First Amendment rights in the form of my free speech and putting a grievance fully on the record. But do you guys stand by your decision to shield police department leadership? Or do you wish that you would have just acted as that oversight body, Mr. Gray, and just, held that accountability, held that line? So moving into, does the township stand by its warrantless arrest policy, right? So you guys have a warrantless arrest policy listed on the township page. Now, what happened on July 27th of 2025 at the department doesn't really align with what that policy is. It also doesn't really align with just, warrantless arrests in Pennsylvania in general. We definitely know that some of the criminal rules and procedures were not followed after the warrantless arrest took place. In point being, taking us into custodial custody, seizing our biometrics, and then telling us that we'll get a summons in the mail, taking our things, no warrants, no affidavits of probable cause. I mean, you wouldn't even give us a receipt of the items that you stole from us. So, my question to the township is, do you stand by your warrantless arrest policy? Okay. And then I think the most important thing right now, most pressing, at least to me, now that we've had this continuance of my criminal cases for the July 27th unlawful arrest, when did the board advertise and vote on the no recording sign that has been placed at the entrance of the public lobby of the North Huntingdon Police Department? And let's not act like we don't know how to advertise and vote for things, because if you remember, I believe it was this year. If it wasn't this year, it was the tail end of 24, but I believe it was this year. You guys tried to enact an ordinance, no walking, standing, parking, on a street, a public street within the township. You advertised this in the way of putting it in the minutes, the agenda for the meeting. You had public discussion on it, to which the public let you guys know that that was an absolutely ridiculous thing for you to try to do, and gave you the opportunity not to act on it, which you didn't act on it. So my question is, when did the board advertise to the public that you were going to allow the police department, or put this policy or ordinance in place to where the police would be allowed to tell the public that they could not film in the publicly funded lobby? Because I don't remember that being advertised. I couldn't find anything in any of the minutes. There was no policy online that stated this no recording policy. There is no statute. That's why you would have to do an ordinance or a local policy, which again, I've stated in the past, and I'll continue to state it for people that are still unsure. I get that you guys can put anything you want into place as long as we allow you to do it. If we do not push back on it, if we do not step forward and point out things that are unconstitutional and just downright wrong, then I get that you guys can do whatever you want to do, and if the masses will follow, then they will follow. But they didn't follow you on the no walking, parking, standing, or whatever on the street. And I really don't think that they would have followed you had you have advertised this to the public that you were going. I know that had I have seen that, I would have shown up and said, absolutely, you're absolutely not going to make it no record. You can do no recording in your secured areas, of course, for the safety of the officers and victims and all these things. Not a problem at all. But in publicly accessible areas, you're not going to tell us that we can't record. So that's essentially what we got going on. This is how I'm going to try to approach these videos moving forward, is with, some level of professionalism, because we're just not getting it from the elected officials. So it is really, I'm trying not to panic anybody, but we really are running out of time to not only educate ourselves, but to ensure the education of our children as far as what their rights are in this country, what this country was founded on, what its purpose is, what we should be doing moving forward. If they are just allowed to act however they want to act and do what they want to do, I mean, we're giving one of the greatest gifts, the greatest gift. I mean, remember, these are God given rights. These are not man made rights. These are only acknowledged by man, right? Written out in the Bill of Rights. That's where these God given rights are protected. But we have a God given right to look out for our community. We have a God given right to come question the authority when they fail the community. Again, we didn't just show up at the police department looking for problems on July 27th. This was after we had been to multiple meetings. We had exhausted every avenue of communication available. The chief wasn't even showing up to meetings anymore. We have violent crimes happening, right? Somebody could get injured. Automatic weapons are being found. There's shootings involving cars that are being stolen from the township, methamphetamines, illegal firearms, accidents where there's severe bodily injury, life-changing injury. I mean, these are real issues. This isn't the potholes, the garbage service sucks. Not that those issues aren't important and pressing for some. And I don't mean to downplay anybody's grievances, but when it's something that it really negatively affects every single person, man, woman, child, 0 to 80, doesn't matter. You're affected by some of the crime and the things that are going on in your neighborhood. You have a right to know about it. We have a right to ask those questions, get you the answers, report to you, whatever you want to call it, without being mislabeled or just labeled in general. They want to keep calling us First Amendment auditors and all these things. How about just American citizens who know their rights? Well, why is it got to be a First Amendment auditor? Or, why is it got to be an independent journalist? Like, why can't I just be an American citizen named Nick? And I think I'd really like to point out that this meeting right here, this 7 p.m. at 11279 Center Highway, North Huntingdon, PA 15642, that's open to the public. That's a public meeting. You can share at that meeting. You do not have to tell them your name and address and all those things. I mean, you can just leave it at, my name is Nick and I'm a citizen of the United States of America. And you can come share at these meetings. They really don't want people to know that podium and that mic is open to any United States citizen, because they really bank on there's not going to be 1, 2, 5, 6, 10 of me in North Huntingdon Township to come take that podium. So they try to get it ingrained in everybody's head that if you don't live in North Huntingdon, you can't go speak at that meeting. And to that I say, as a citizen of the United States of America, if I see other citizens of this country being wronged in other parts of this country to the point where I feel compelled to go speak on behalf of those being wronged, there's not a policy or anything in place that would supersede the supremacy clause of the Constitution of the United States of America that says that I have the freedom of speech, right? I have the freedom to come to where I need to go to speak against the injustices that I may have seen or that I know of. So let's just make that crystal clear, just so everybody's on the same page. You don't need all that hoopla at the school board meetings about all the stuff online. You have to tell us your address, your email address, your physical address, check these boxes. No. You want to put a list up? Nick, United States of America. I am a citizen of this country. You are running a public forum open to public comment. I don't need to jump through hoops to participate. And the only reason that they want you to jump through hoops and they want you to give your name, your address, and all these other things is because they want you to feel like, watch what you say because we know where you live. And if they think that we don't know that's what they're trying to imply, a certain level of fear that, hey, we know where you live, watch what you say, stick that where the sun don't shine, because we know what you're trying to do. Some of us just flat out aren't afraid of you, right? And those that are, negatively affected by what I like to call the boogeyman effect, and you are terrified that all I can tell you is there's strength in numbers. We have a lot of tools and resources these days in 2025 as the American people that we can use to shield ourselves and protect ourselves and stand united against these idiots that are robbing us, cheating us, stealing us, poisoning the minds of our children. We don't have to go down like this. We still have some fight left in us. So, let's wrap it up. That's 15 minutes into this. We'll see what we can scratch together. But, until next time, I appreciate those of you joining in, those that are continuing to pray, those that are talking about this with your friends and your families around the dinner table, at the soccer games, at the dance recitals. Could not do this without each and every one of you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.